John's rocky childhood, and finally, we get to see Deb stand up to him and finally try to leave him. Dirty John After Show starts right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Dirty John After Show. So good to see you. And so good to see you, too.
Good to see you, too. I'm so excited to be back talking about our crazy boy, John.
I know. Tyra, it's me and you and this psychotic John. Today, we are getting into episode 5 and 6. We're almost near the end. Next week is going to be our last week since we're doing 2 episodes per week.
It's crazy.
I know. It's very sad. Before we get into the episodes, we are going to do our Oh My God moment of the week at the end of the show. So be prepared for that. Let's get right into it.
Ready.
Okay. So I want to start talking about John's childhood and the flashback of it. Relationship with the dad, relationship with his sister Denise. We saw lots of moments of kind of him becoming, who he is today. What did you think?
I thought that my prediction was spot on, is what I thought.
Now remind us what your prediction was.
So I predicted that, or maybe I just had a feeling that the reason why John is the way he is because of his childhood. Did not know that was going to happen in the next episode, to confirm it. But literally, it still doesn't technically all make sense, but it makes sense of why he's just kind of just messed up in the brain. He's just been through a lot. Yes. All of the other stuff I can't really account for just yet, but still, childhood played a major part on some of the things that he does.
I mean, I thought it was interesting how there was just scam after scam, starting from such a young age. Yeah. And then even when he's a teenager, like running out in front of the car and breaking his leg.
His dad, it was to the point where he was just like immune to it. He just knew like, oh, my dad would be happy if I do this, like whatever I need to do to help us get money. Like you saw, speaking of that, how his dad like smiled at him when he like was on the ground helping him.
I know.
It's insane.
It kind of showed that he has this skill set that he's been honing his whole life. It's not like he just started to do this to women and manipulate them and it's not like an adult thing. It's literally been happening his whole life that he's been doing these things.
Yeah, it's crazy. And literally the very, like right at the beginning when you saw they were in the restaurant and he had the glass and he handed it to him, giving him this whole, like his dad was giving him a pep talk about like, well, we're going to do this, you'll be fine, or whatever he was saying. And then he I don't know, it was just unbelievable. I'm like, is he going to like put this in his food and chew it and then like spit it out? And he did. It's crazy.
That was a hard moment to watch, like seeing such a young child be exposed to that and being told that what to do and then that's the right thing to do in life.
Yeah.
Just to get money, But I thought Denise ended up good, right? Denise ended up, the sister, she ended up fine, and she came from the exact same background. She was exposed to the exact same lessons and scams. And why do you think that she turned out differently than John?
I think she turned out differently because her dad didn't pressure her like how he pressured John. Like, she was a part of it, but we didn't, I guess it was solely about John, but he wasn't pretty much having her hurt herself. He was still kind of just like letting her stay in her place, but still incorporating her in whatever business they had at that restaurant or whatever. Yeah. But you could tell just like as a child, she would see that it's not right, or I don't know, maybe she just didn't feel a part of the family. Like there was the scene where she she told on John and then her dad gave her less money because she was a tattletale. So maybe she just always never really fit in
just
with
was
them.
Above that all the time from the beginning. And what I heard in the podcast that they don't show in the show is that there's another brother.
Oh, wow.
There might even be more siblings, but I know there's another older brother, and he actually eventually died from an overdose of drugs, which I thought was along the lines of kind of the same path that John was going. They didn't go into super detail about that, but I thought that was interesting to introduce a third sibling and seeing how they turned out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you. When Denise picked John up from jail, what do you think that she's thinking? Like, obviously she knows that her brother's in jail, and she has to know why for the stalking and everything. Like, is she okay with it? Because she's pretty, like, straight-laced, and she thinks that he's going to change, and she gives him a job in Cathedral City in the trailer park. Like, what are you thinking in the show and just in real life of what she's thinking of John at that moment?
Honestly, I think she was just thinking, here goes my brother again. Like, she just knows her brother. And it was just like, I'm here to support you regardless. Even, like, just going back to his childhood, she was always kind of supportive. When he, like, jumped in front of the car, she was telling him, like, you know, you don't have to do that or whatever. And, you know, so maybe it was just, like, sister to the rescue kind of thing. Like, whatever you did, it's whatever, but I'm still here for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. What do you think?
I honestly didn't know. I was like, I don't know. I hope Tyra tells me what she thinks, because I'm not sure. I mean, it's just a little confusing. I think that she means well and she wants the best for her brother. And then as the show plays out, where the lawyer, I think that might be the next episode, where the lawyer confronts her about how her brother, like, how John waited in front of the bar and waited for the drunk driver to come out and then, like, purposely hit her.
It was this one.
And yeah, so I think when she start to saw that all happening, he kind of, like, unfolded in front of her eyes. But my point was, like, he's pretty much been like that his entire life. So I'm wondering why, like, only then she's seeing that.
Maybe because this was the first time that and this is just my assumption, that this was her first time actually witnessing him just do it on his own. I feel like as a child, she saw it just from their dad telling him to do it. And like I said, she would tell him, like, you know, you don't have to do this. So maybe it was just like, oh my God, he's crazy. And then just those flashbacks of what happened to their dad. I think that kind of, like, set it off to where it was like, my brother's crazy.
In regards to what?
In regards to his death and the hospital.
The death. Okay. Yeah. I thought that's what you were talking about. Well, because then we kind of come full circle when she finally realizes, I think, that John killed her dad. Right?
And it was full circle.
He didn't die.
He didn't die.
On his own.
And it's like, in the beginning, they set it up to where you would think that, but it confirmed it after they had that big blow up in the trailer. And, you know, he was pretty much just like, you're next on my list, or you're going to pay. And it's like, she stood there and literally was like, whoa, my dad didn't just die. Like, he was fine. John killed him. I don't know. I kind of saw that flashback and was like, maybe that was their way of, you know, confirming to us, like, John did kill his dad. And if he can kill you guys' dad, he can kill you also.
But doesn't he like his dad? Does he respect his dad?
And that's what I'm confused about. That's what I was confused about also. And I don't know, maybe later, well, you would think in the next episode they would kind of share that, but that was kind of, it was kind of misleading for me also, because it's like he learned from his dad, and it was like, in the beginning you can tell he was young and didn't really understand why his dad was making him do it. But as he got older, he was just like doing it just because. So I was kind of confused on why. Right. Yeah. Like, in the beginning he seeked his dad validation, whereas I don't know. I'm just confused.
If only we could interview John, but I don't know if I want to interview John. I also thought it was interesting that John kind of throughout his life, his dad, you know, really idolized the mobsters and being related to the mobsters. Whereas, you know, normal people wouldn't think that was cool, but it was kind of like this idealistic way of living life. Like, oh, we're a mobster, we're related to mobsters, we're gonna act like mobsters, we're gonna kill like mobsters. And I think John's whole life he was kind of, you know, driven to think that that was a good thing to look up to and be. When in reality, it's not that cool to be a mobster. I don't know. Right. But anyways, we are going to jump really quickly and just thank our AfterBuzz hosts or fans for listening to us. And Tyra, you're going to take it away and tell us how else they can show us some love.
Yeah, so of course, before we continue on, we just want to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. For the continuous growth of our network, we can use your help. If you're on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button. And if you're on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so you can get involved in the conversation. Being a part of AfterBuzz has meant so much to all of us, and we truly appreciate your support and doing what we love. Don't forget to tell your friends and keep enjoying our shows.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
And thank you guys for watching. Okay, so I want to jump to the storyline of Deb now. I call her Deb. Nobody calls her Deb. I call her Deb. Can we just call her Deb for short? It's just easy. So she takes John back, right? Like, we see her move back into the penthouse, and then we see her trying to help John get clean. And he's kind of saying all the right things, convincing her that he wants to change. He's like, I really want to make you proud. Do you think that he actually wanted to get clean? I get a little bit confused because he's obviously going through the, what's it called? Detox?
Yeah.
And you can tell that he's actually, like, getting rid of the drugs in his body. So do you think that he actually wants to change? In that moment,
I was also confused, but he's such like a trickster and just like manipulative that I wouldn't be surprised if he would have went that far just to prove a point or just to like keep her.
Right.
Like, I was, watching him go through that, it's like, okay, if he did go through it, maybe he is serious, but I just don't put anything past him.
Right.
I kind of felt like, whatever, like, far as we know, he's probably done this before to keep a woman, and then as we saw, he's just gonna go back to it. So I don't know.
And I think it's so hard when, for at least Deborah, who like wants to see the good in him, and he's telling her that everything he does that's bad is because of drugs, and then in front of her own eyes he quits cold turkey, does that whole detox process,
and he's like snapped during it.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, like, the process. Well, I don't understand. I don't know how.
Thank God for that.
But in the episode, I could see why he would flip like that. But that was scary. It was like he was possessed when he was like, move, be, or whatever he said. I was like,
I know.
Whoa, okay.
But I think him just coming clean, like, really just cemented. Deborah's like, oh, like, he's changed, I want him back.
Yeah.
So then Terra kind of confronts Deborah, right? Terra breaks up with her boyfriend and moves back into the penthouse. And she wakes up at 1 a.m. and she notices that her mom is gone. And Deborah comes back and she's like, where were you? And they have this whole conversation. And it's kind of that whole thing about forgiveness again, right? Like, Deborah's trying to convince Terra to forgive him just like she has. And she's like, he has nobody. And I thought it was interesting because I think that Terra and Deborah are very similar characters. They both want to see the best in people and have that idea of forgiveness, whereas Ronnie is like a completely different person, right? She's like, she sees bad from the beginning.
I like Ronnie.
She's a strong character. But I kind of just didn't get that like similarity between those two characters until this episode.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
It was honestly kind of weird because like Terra was kind of like, I'm on Veronica's side. Mom, you need to dump him. He's rude. He's mean. And then I don't know, maybe the purpose of her going through this breakup was to show that like maybe she understands it now. So that's how she could take her mom's side because she's kind of been through the same thing. And then she talks about her past boyfriend who was wrong. And then I think she kind of just compared that to how John is, supposedly changing. So it was just like, well, maybe men do change because my ex-boyfriend completely did a 360. So I'm going to support you and be there for you because I've seen it happen firsthand.
It's just like that string of events for all these women in this family that they see these things and they're like okay with it. And they're like, well, if this happened, then I guess I can forgive this person.
Yeah, but it made me worried because it's just like, oh God, now Terra is the naive one also, and I don't know. But going back to what you said about how she, they broke up and she moved back in with her mom. Do you remember when she was on the phone with her mom crying and she was like, Mom, can I just move back with you? And literally Deb's face was like, honey, what do you mean? You want to move back? And then she was like, okay, like, she was kind of hesitant. I don't know if did you like notice that?
I don't remember if I noticed it, but John was living with her at the time, right? Or
yeah,
had he not moved in yet?
This was when it was like fresh. Like they just started, getting on good terms. She just helped him get through the detox. And, it was clear that they were like back together. So she kind of like froze like, oh shoot, they don't know that we're a thing again. But in a way, I thought how she responded, it seemed like she was going to tell her no. But, like, she just kept crying. It was like, Mom, please, what? Can I come? Can I come? And then she eventually let her move in. But I just wanted to point that out. That was really weird to me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like,
you're like, I don't remember that part.
no, I do. I'm just trying to think of the sequence of events to when John actually moved back in. But I think there was this period of time in real life where she had moved back in with John and she was keeping it from her kids again.
Okay.
And so I was trying to like piece that together in my mind.
You know, maybe he wasn't fully back in yet, but maybe it was just like the principle that they were back in contact. So it was just like, you moving in, you may possibly see him or you may hear me talking to him. So she was kind of hesitant because she doesn't want the family to necessarily know yet.
Right. Exactly. So then essentially Deborah's family starts isolating her. So is this the first time that we're introduced to the son, Trey?
No,
Was he in the Christmas episode?
I think so.
Okay, because I don't know why. I just didn't know.
And I want to say they had when she first moved into the house, I want to say they had another dinner. And he was there with the kids and the family.
I don't know how I missed this. I watched this twice and I missed it.
No, it was kind of weird too. Sometimes things, even like with the storyline, sometimes it kind of feels like it's like all over like a little
jumbled.
Bit.
Yeah. So I think that at that point, Deborah feels super, isolated is pretty much the only word that's coming to my mind right now, but just terrible about the situation because her own family doesn't want to hang out with her. And I thought there was a really interesting part where she's sitting on the bed with John kind of crying about the situation because her family is all she has and she loves them. And he kind of puts the power into her hands and says, maybe we should end this, which is something that we talked about at the beginning of the show when like they found the apartment, but he was like, oh, I can't get this right now. And she's like, well, maybe I could get it. And he's like, no, we can't do that. And like kind of just putting the power into her hands, even though it was his idea all along.
So she can't say like, well, you made me do this, because he's clearly laid it on the table for her to make her own decisions. That part literally threw me for a loop because it's like you go to this family brunch and your son literally says you can't see my kids will never be around him. You can't see them if you're with John. And you go, no, I don't want to end things. Like I just couldn't believe her at that point. I was really disappointed because in these past few episodes, we've literally walked through them discovering who John really was. And again, she just kind of like literally disregards all of it.
I know. And I think that's the whole thing of just believing the best in people, believing that he doesn't really know what he's doing. But we all know that he's much more calculated than that. Yeah. So the episode ends with her waking up in the middle of the night and finding a syringe injection in John's foot, essentially. And she finds drugs in their apartment in a box, right? Which kind of, I think, gives her the realization, like, okay, I should probably leave this guy. Yeah. Do you think that he started using the second after he got clean? Like, do you think, what was that period of time? I'm like, I wanted him to believe that he was going to be clean, and it's just kind of like back to his old tricks.
Yeah, I think it was just that, like I said, I still have trouble believing if he was actually doing it for her, and maybe it could have just been one of those things where it was just like, I'm gonna do this to get her back, and then right after this I'm going back to it, or I don't know. It didn't give us like they didn't give us a series of events to why he would go back to the drugs. It just kind of like just happened. I don't know, maybe it was just kind of one of those things where it's like you're addicted, so you just relapse or whatever it's called.
And then I'm thinking of just last week, like when I was asking, do you think that he really loves these women? Like, I don't know. I want to believe that he loves Deb. They give you so many mixed
feelings.
Right.
I need like a straight narrow path.
And
or is that the point, that he's just that crazy that he just keeps everyone, including viewers, confused?
And can someone like that really love somebody?
Right.
Or are they just crazy?
Yeah. I don't know.
But crazy people can love people still, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I've never dated anybody crazy.
Right, and I hope we never have to.
Me too. Okay, any last thoughts on episode 5?
I did want to get into Veronica.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much, again, her reaction to finding out after she did all of this to help her mom, and then, finding out, oh, she's just back with John. Like, that was literally, you saw, she even stated, like, if mom was to tell me, she would literally see me, like, catch on fire or something.
Yes,
and,
that is what she said.
Also, what was really crazy to me, I don't know if you remember, but there were like flashbacks of his dad saying, you know, when someone comes after you, go for their family or something like that.
Right.
And he did that with Veronica. Like it first happened when he spit on her birth certificate when she wanted that. And then he got her fired from her job.
I know, that was so crazy.
That was insane. Like, I don't know. That like who does that? Like, you're calling, saying all of these crazy things about her, and then you're leaving these crazy reviews, and it's like she knows it's John. Like, they're just showing the flashbacks. Like, the doctor's like, I don't know who would do this, and then it's John kissing on her mom, and she's just like, John in her head.
I know. For me, like, I think that in real life, it would have been, I don't know. Like, I think if those things happened, I feel like Ronnie would just run to her mom and tell her what happened. Like, it just seems simpler to me in my head. Like, if your daughter said that your boyfriend is doing all of these things to you, like, you would end it.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I think it plays out a little bit different chronologically in the show. But I'm just wondering, you know, how did that happen in real life? How could you let your daughter be affected by your boyfriend like that?
Exactly. I don't know. I'm hoping, because even in episode 6, since we're getting ready to get into it, I don't think they covered it about what he actually did in the last episode about her losing her job. So maybe now that they've been reconnected, maybe she'll tell her mom, and that'll just be again a plot to help her get away from him. Or I don't know.
I know. There's just so much stuff adding up against him. All right. Should we get into episode 6?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay. So episode 6, we kind of get into the lens of what John looks like through different people's eyes. So first we see this lawyer, right? First of all, this has nothing to do with anything that we're going to talk about, but the first time I watched this show, I like got this weird, like, flirty vibe between the lawyer and his assistant. Did you get that?
I didn't.
Oh, because I was watching with someone else and I was like, are they like sleeping
together?
Have
a thing? I mean,
and my friend was like, that's what I thought too, but there seems to be no relationship that come from it. I just didn't know if you had that impression at all either.
No, it was just like, she was completely like, oh, it's that John person calling. Like, it was just kind of weird.
I know. She was so scared of him, and it's crazy how upset John gets at the lawyer, right? Like, even in just the meeting, you can see that he's getting angrier and angrier. And in the podcast that I listened to, sorry, I have to keep referring to the podcast, the lawyer actually spoke. And he said that as soon as they started talking about the post-nup that they wanted to get, just as like time went on, he wasn't getting angry like vocally. You could just see that his face and his body and his body language just was getting angry. But it was just interesting that he could see him just change so quickly. Yeah. And then essentially John is harassing him over the phone and in emails and demanding his money back and basically just becoming like a crazy person. Okay,
help me understand why he acted like that. I was kind of confused. I don't know. To me, is it because like Deb was all for it and she wanted to use this to, you know, help bring her family back together? Or I was just kind of confused on why he was so upset about that.
Because I don't think that he actually wanted, I don't understand what he wanted by going to the lawyer.
Yeah.
Like maybe he was just playing nice and trying to show Deb that he wants to do whatever she wants to do. But as soon as they like got into the details about it, of what they needed to do and to show that he's not fraud or whatever, and of how a post-nup would show her family like he's not using her for money, that's kind of when he broke down. But again, I don't really know what his intention of was going there. Like, what did he think was going to happen?
Right. Maybe he just thought, this lawyer's going to just help me clear my name and we're out of here. Not going all into, you know, I don't know. But I was just really just like, why is he flipping out like this?
And if not, he can use that against him, fire the lawyer, get mad at him, say that he doesn't do anything. You know, he can kind of flip the script and manipulate the situation to come out on top, I guess. Which he kind of did, but not really. And then we see, like, the investigator, narcotics man, like, 10 years ago. And I thought it was interesting how there was, like, all these different stories about John Meehan, right? Like, the investigator was saying, oh, well, yeah, this got reported, and this got reported, and this hospital said this, but, like, nothing ever really happened. And it's just, like, there's so many holes in our justice system. Like, this man is, like, running around, stealing anesthesia kits, and has a bunch of drugs in his house and harassing women, and he really only served like whatever X amount of months in jail, then he's like out roaming free.
I don't know. I wish we had more episodes.
I know.
I feel like it's all being jam-packed and thrown at me, and it's like, then here comes Melissa. Like, we start off talking about Tanya again, then Melissa, like, I was just kind of like, what's that Mr. Krabs meme when you're just like, whoa, too much at once? Like, I need...
Yeah, no, there was a lot. There was a lot of information, and it just seemed like there was no real consequence for John.
Yeah, it just seems like he just continues to slide through the cracks, and it's just like, I guess I'm not getting that how. It's just like,
yeah,
they're just saying it, and then it's just like, oh, okay, well, he got through with that. Like, no, how did he get, like,
no,
maybe, like, you can't be that manipulative to just get over on a lawyer or all of these, I don't know, detectives. Right. I don't know. I was just really kind of confused with this episode in particular.
And then jumping out of the ambulance.
Yeah.
That, by the way, really happened.
Like, what? Well, you guys just weren't paying attention? He was just, I don't know.
It's half of this stuff you think, like, this is, maybe made up part of the show. Mm-hmm. But then, like, listening to the podcast, like, this stuff really happened. And he, like, assaulted a cop. And I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. But... yeah, going back to that, his relationship with, in the beginning they talked about, I guess, Tanya and how she was filing for their divorce, and I guess she was trying to, like, get back at him. And then just Melissa came in. I don't know. Help me understand that.
Just the sequence of events?
Yeah.
I think Melissa was just a girlfriend.
Okay.
But what it didn't really explain is she kind of came in and was like, yeah, I'm dating him, and I know where all of his drugs are. Mm-hmm. And it was weird how they introduced that.
Yeah, it was just like, why did she come in to just do that? Like,
I guess she was, like, over the situation, but if she was over it, why would she still be living with him?
Exactly. Or was she just over the fact that they weren't exclusive? Like, I just feel like there was a lot of, like, I get where the show is going, but there's a lot of just missing things, like, that are just not connecting. I kind of feel like it's just being thrown.
Yeah. I think it was just to show that there was so many things that he was doing wrong to so many different people. Because I don't think he was actually living with Tanya still then, right? He was divorced.
Yeah.
Right. So he was technically separated. So maybe he was exclusive. Probably not. But maybe she thought that he was. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I got so many women, but I guess it was just because he was charming.
Yeah.
And
maybe John's I don't know.
Okay, so I want to get into the Deborah and Ronnie storyline when Deborah finally decides she wants to leave John. So she contacts Ronnie while she's getting her nails done. And it's kind of a nice situation because this whole season, they've had kind of this tumultuous fighting relationship. They've been going to therapy. They're, seen butting heads. And then finally, Deborah kind of, basically comes down to her and is like, I need your help. I want to leave John. So I liked that part. And I don't know.
I was shocked that Veronica was open to it again.
Yeah.
I feel like I guess it's her mom, but I don't know. She was just that fed up with her and so disappointed that, she invested time and money into exposing him just for her mom to go back. So I was actually shocked how open she was to just, okay, we're back at it. Let's do it again.
But what would you do in that situation if your mom was like scared out of her mind, wearing a wig to see you and like, hello, I need your help escaping this D-bag. Can you help me, please?
I would still help too, but I'd be like, Mom, look, this is it. We are not going back to this. I don't know. But I guess in the beginning, they had like showed that clip before she had like, I think broke down how she like tricked John into thinking that she didn't read the letter and how she had went on this whole she noticed
clue investigation search.
Yeah. So at first when she went to meet with Veronica, I thought it was just like, I don't know, John had probably convinced her to do this and it was another way to just manipulate her daughter because he was out for Veronica. So I kind of saw it that way. And then towards the end, we saw that it was like a real thing and she was really trying to get away from him.
Yeah. I liked that part where, it shows Deborah seeing the tracker and doing the envelope with the lawyer and leaving her phone in the car so John can't track her when she goes and meets with the lawyer. And it was kind of finally like, a little depth to the character, to Deborah's character, because she's not so like ditzy and like believes whatever and finally is taking a stand.
It was a major plot twist because I was like, did she really not read that letter? Like, are you kidding me?
I know.
Like, I was so mad at her. But then, okay, now I'm confused again because, so, you know, she redid the letter. She did read it. She met with him. Why? What happened to where, you know, the scene where like John called and threatened the lawyer and they never like went back to see what happened with that?
I think the lawyer gave him his money back.
Was that what it was? Because like he was so scared. Like he was like, maybe I'm outside of your house.
I know.
And he runs and locks the door. So I'm like,
I was so scared of that part, by the way.
I was very scared too. But it was just like, dang, you know, Deb, did you do this and you saved yourself? But now the lawyer is like,
I know, it was a little bit confusing of what her intention was by giving him the letter first and not pretending that she read it.
And then giving John the letter. Like, I don't understand why. Like, yeah, she pretended that she read it, but why did she even have to give it to John? Why? I don't know. I was kind of confused by that.
It's a good question. I think because she wanted to put the power into John, like make him feel like she trusts him. I can't speak, sorry. You know, and that regardless of where she is or who she's with, she's always going to go to him and seek his opinion first. And two, it helped her hire the other lawyer. I don't know, but that's a good question. Like, couldn't she have just went along with the lawyer trying to help her? Like, why did she have to? And then it's just like, it sucked because it's like now the lawyer's fearing for his life. Like, I know. I don't know. Maybe that will be something to come, but I was really confused by that. I was like, well, why did this other lawyer come? Why now his life is at risk? Like, it was just weird. I don't know. I know. But yeah, maybe it was just to get the lawyer out of the way to get another one. I don't know. We'll never know, I guess. So we end the episode with kind of a really pivotal scene, right? Like she comes in the door and John confronts her about why she took out $30,000 from the bank. And he just starts to get super, like, it's not a domestic dispute, but it seems to be going in that direction. And it's just like you can kind of cut the tension with the knife.
I love that how Deb stuck up for herself during that scene. Like, I don't know, when he questioned her about it, he was like, what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours. And she was just like, what's mine before you is still mine. I was like, yes, Deb, like, good comeback.
Exactly.
I don't know. It showed like she was kind of like fed up and she's finally taking up for herself. But it was also like, yikes, what's getting ready to happen?
I know. And he just kind of kept on like poking her in the closet, and she just wasn't responding and just was packing a bag finally. But I think that when she left, it was like John had this realization that for the first time that he wasn't successful in scamming someone. Like, I feel like for his whole life, he's always gotten away with everything that he's ever wanted to get away. Nobody's outsmarted him. Nobody, especially her, who he's like been kind of controlling this whole time. And I think he just kind of had this major, like, fearful realization, like, wow, Deborah might actually leave me. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, wow. I didn't think of that, but that's true. The way just how she set that all up was so, like, it was good. She really was on her game. So like you said, maybe he was kind of just like, okay, maybe she's not as, naive as I thought she was. Maybe I do have some, for the most part. Right. Maybe I do have to like step my game up.
Yeah. Because I don't think that anyone has ever conned John, and she's not conning him, but essentially she kind of was one step ahead of him, which I don't think has ever happened.
Yeah.
I was watching the after show of Bravo, and they were doing an interview with Connie Britton, who plays Deborah. And she was saying that she thinks that John is like a sociopath. And even though we think that like all of his moves are manipulative and calculated, they aren't all calculated because of all the little mistakes that he made. But he's kind of like creating his own reality and actually believe what he is creating. And I think that like lots of sociopaths do that, right? Like it's like pathological liars, when they lie, they actually believe what they're saying. Yeah. And it's kind of like sociopaths. Like he's doing a bunch of crazy stuff, but he's actually believing everything that he's saying and doing around him is his reality, when it's not actually.
Yeah.
It's reality. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess I agree with that because, I mean, well, based off of the show, yeah, his dad had him doing that crazy stuff, but I don't think it was that bad for him to just be as crazy as he is. Maybe it is something internal, or maybe those events as a kid traumatized him to become this crazy person. But
yeah,
I don't know, but the TV show clearly doesn't give everything and all of the facts. But
right.
I could see why that would be her assumption of why he's the way he is also.
I just wonder if there's like some mental issues there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point. It's like, can you have just mental issues, or is it a combination of how you were raised? And like, it's just really interesting to think about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't major in psychology, but
I did, but I stopped.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't even think I got, like, I literally took one course, and then I was like, oh, no, journalism.
I was going to, and then I had found out that there was, like, math courses involved, so I was like, I'll do sociology instead.
Straight, yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about for episode 6?
No, like I said, that one kind of left me kind of in the dark. I feel like it was a lot of...
I know.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff. Like, I thought there were so many flashbacks and clips throughout the years and his childhood and then to present that it just did a really good idea of, like, catching up on everything now and showing, like, a background of what has happened in his past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, we're going to get into our juicy segment of the week, which is the oh my God moment of the week.
Oh my God.
Just a reminder, Tyra has never seen Friends before. We will not hold it against her.
I thought you were going to say, just a reminder, Tyra has not watched the full season of Dirty John, and then you call me out on Friends. I'll watch it.
I know. It's okay. It's okay. Exactly.
That was a good one.
Okay, so what was your oh my God moment of the week?
My oh my God moment was just watching Baby John eat that glass in the taco. I just couldn't believe that. Like, I don't know. I hate TV shows that do that. That shows, like, I don't know. It's just like, like, I love kids. So to, like, see that someone has manipulated a child and to know that that happens in real life, it didn't sit well with me. And I'm just like, wow, he's really like, and then he put his child in harm. Not only did he teach him how to scam and get money by injuries, he was okay with his son biting glass and damaging whatever is inside of his mouth. Like, that was insane to me. Like, you don't use your child as a pawn.
I know.
It's
so sad
crazy.
to
It was really
innocent
sad.
children be like, ugh, put in that situation.
Like we said all last week, it's all about your upbringing.
I know.
But this was just an awful way to bring his son into this kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, it was just such a crazy scene to see and, like, made such sense of why he's a monster.
Yeah, and it was right in the beginning, too. I was like, oh, my God.
I know. You're like, all right, we're starting this episode off right.
Right.
Okay, I feel like mine aren't good compared to yours, but I just have 2 quotes, and basically they're from John that, like, when I heard them, I was like, oh my God, I'm scared of this man. So in episode 5, he said to his sister, "You better watch your back, Denise, because now you're my project," which just essentially threatening her, telling her, like, to watch her back. Like, he's basically going to kill her or do something to her.
That was crazy. That was definitely a good OMG moment. And like I said, when he said that, that's when she had that flashback of her dad, and it was full circle. Like, oh shoot, he killed our dad, so he will definitely kill me. Yeah, that was definitely an OMG moment.
My brother's crazy. And I had one more in episode 6 when he said to Deborah, after she didn't say anything to him first, he said, "Hit me and I'll make sure you never get up again."
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, okay, so you have, like, homicide in your blood, basically. By the way, back to the podcast again, he said all of these things in real life, too. Like, I'm shocked just listening to the podcast and watching the Oxygen special. There's so much of this that actually happened. Like, just watching the TV show, you think that a lot of it is fabricated or made up just to have drama or be interesting. And most of it, if not all of it, is stuff that actually happened, like word for word what John said to these women.
That's
so
crazy.
I think that's awesome.
Listen to this podcast.
Not awesome.
I just have to. I'm gonna go back and listen when we finish
when you
the show.
Yeah, you should. You should. Okay. With that said, let's get into predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh, that's new.
Ooh, where's all the lights? Usually there's like Halloween in here and there's lights. All right, what are your predictions for
Predictions.
Essentially the final 2 episodes.
Oh my God. Okay, so clearly John's gonna get caught up or something. He's gonna, go to jail, or I don't know. He's finally gonna get convicted for all the wrong he's done. And what else?
So do you think he's gonna go to jail?
I think he's gonna go to jail.
Okay.
I don't know I literally didn't even look up or research this because
So
that's just my prediction.
Don't ruin it for yourself.
And I predict that Deb is finally going to get her life together, and her and Veronica are gonna take him down. We'll see.
Where's Terra gonna be?
Tara's gonna just go with the flow because she goes with the flow with everything.
Totally. All right. Okay. Well, I can't wait to see. I can't believe next week's our last week. It's so short. I don't know.
Let me know
about
the after shows you're on so we can be on it together.
All right, we'll do. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for watching. Tyra, where can everybody find you on social media?
Hey guys, you can find me on all social media platforms @_Tyra Prude.
And you guys can find me on Instagram @Shanti_Christina or Twitter @ShantiChristina. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next Tuesday for the final 2 episodes. Have a great night.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.